President Trump's chief of staff says the president is showing, quote, mild symptoms of coronavirus. If President Trump gets very ill, one analyst says, there will likely be considerable angst inside the West Wing, if there isn't already.
The White House staff and the political staff for Trump must be extremely nervous. This destroys a lot of the plans they had. You've got the health dimension, you've got the governing dimension.
If President Trump gets too sick to govern, what happens next? The first step is determining that he is incapacitated. According to the 25th Amendment of the Constitution, Trump could make that determination himself.
He can notify Congress, the House and Senate, that he is going to be incapacitated because he'll be sedated on a ventilator. And until he says so, that the powers of his office would be transferred to Mike Pence, who would serve as acting president until the president's health improved.
Ronald Reagan did that when he had an operation on his colon. George W. Bush did it twice when he had colonoscopies. They each handed over power just for a few hours while they were under anesthesia. But what if the president is so sick and incoherent that he can't make the determination himself to hand over power? The 25th Amendment has a plan for that, too.
The vice president and a majority of the cabinet can notify the Congress, both the House and Senate, that the president is incapacitated. And at that point, the powers transfer from President Trump to Vice President Pence.
If Pence and the cabinet don't agree with each other to take power from President Trump, a supermajority of Congress would have to vote to take power from Trump. Pence has so far tested negative for coronavirus, and his doctor says he's in good health. But COVID has infiltrated the White House, and President Trump has been in close contact with Pence. If Pence gets the virus and becomes incapacitated, next in line to be acting president would be the Trump team's political arch-rival, Democratic House Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
I don't think they'd let it happen. They'd find a way around it, possibly the Secretary of State, someone in the Republican line, either the elective line in the Senate or the cabinet line would take over. It's just untenable. And Nancy Pelosi would recognize that as well.
If Pelosi is bypassed or doesn't want the job, the rules call for the presidency to go to the Senate's president pro tempore, who at the moment is 87-year-old Republican Chuck Grassley. Should Americans be scared of all these possibilities?
The public should absolutely not be scared. While this situation is a difficult one, we have constitutional and legal provisions in place to deal with this situation and situations much more dire and much more complicated than the current one.
But another key question is, what about the election? What if either or both of the nominees become incapacitated or die from the virus? Nothing like that has ever happened before. So far, Joe Biden has tested negative for coronavirus. But experts say if either of the nominees has to drop out for any reason, then the Republican or Democratic national committees would have to scramble to select a new nominee. A dicey proposition this late in the game since so many people have already voted. Brian Todd, CNN, Washington.